Would you be willing to pay double the ticket price just to watch a blockbuster movie? And if Hollywood is being drained by other countries, as Trump claims, is the solution really to impose a 100% tax on foreign films? It sounds like a plot twist from an intense movie script, but this is actually a proposal from the US president. The question is this an effort to protect the national industry, or just an empty political move that's impossible to implement? Let's unpack this movie tax dream and see if it's as scary as a horror film or just a scare tactic in the trailer. Recently, Donald Trump made headlines when he announced on his social media platform Truth Social that he would impose a 100% tax on all imported films. His goal? To save Hollywood. At first glance, this decision might seem surprising, but Trump's reasoning is actually quite simple. He believes American films are being given tax breaks by other countries, which is causing major film studios to shift production abroad. According to Trump, countries like Canada, Ireland, and Hungary are draining Hollywood with their enticing tax incentives, resulting in losses for the US. But behind this statement lies a much more complex picture. As usual, Trump didn't provide any concrete data or in-depth research before making his remarks. Instead, he made off-the-cuff comments as if he was brainstorming spontaneously. Maybe, while writing this post, he was rewatching a Rambo movie at his Mar-a-Lago estate and thought Hollywood needed more protection. Imagine sitting in a theater, enjoying a foreign blockbuster, when suddenly you hear the news. Trump wants to tax foreign films 100%. Sounds crazy, right? But is it really that simple? Trump suggested that if foreign films are hurting Hollywood, why not tax them? But when you think it through, it's not that straightforward. Films aren't like cars or steel. They're made of creativity, emotions, and ideas. You can't just pack them up and slap a tax on them like you would industrial goods. The first problem? How do you even value a film? Should the tax be based on how much it costs to make? What if a cheap film makes huge profits? Or do you tax based on revenue, and who decides how to calculate that? Different countries have different ways of measuring profits, and now with online streaming, things get even messier. Then, there's the real puzzle. What counts as a foreign film? Filmmaking today crosses borders. A movie might be written in the US, filmed in Canada, edited in Hungary, and star actors from all over. So who gets taxed, and how? And here's the kicker. If this tax law passes, the first people to suffer could be American audiences and US theaters. Foreign studios could easily shift to streaming platforms like Netflix or YouTube, cutting out theaters altogether. US cinemas, still reeling from the pandemic, would be hit even harder. In short, while this tax idea might sound good to Trump supporters, it's a maze of complications in practice. On paper, it may seem reasonable, but in reality, it's nearly impossible to pull off. So, next time you see one of Trump's film tax tweets, just grab your popcorn and relax. In politics, especially with Trump, there's often a huge difference between talk and action. If you think that imposing a 100% tax on foreign films is just an internal matter for the US, think again. There will surely be a strong response from many countries. Film giants like South Korea, France, and India won't sit idly by while their films are cut down in the US. They may not just voice their discontent, but also use the very trade agreements the US has signed, such as the WTO or bilateral trade deals. The US cannot impose taxes without clashing with numerous international commitments, and if that happens, major film studios with offices around the world won't just sit back. They have enough power to sue the US in international courts, and they could win. Not to mention, if the US taxes foreign films, other countries may retaliate, leaving Hollywood not rescued, but severely harmed. Another problem is, what exactly qualifies as an imported film? Movies today can be products of multiple countries, so who would pay the tax? And now, films aren't just shown in theaters, they're available on various platforms like Netflix, TikTok, YouTube. Would Trump tax short clips on social media too? Overall, this idea may sound bold, but in reality, it's complicated and risky. If not handled carefully, Hollywood could face a painful backlash like never before. Trump isn't entirely wrong when he claims that Hollywood is being lured by tax incentives from other countries. In fact, places like Canada, Ireland, and Hungary have become havens for American film productions, not necessarily because of the beautiful landscapes, though they are beautiful, but mainly because of money. Take Canada as an example. The government there is willing to refund up to 30% of production costs if you shoot a film there. So it's no surprise that more and more American film crews are choosing Toronto or Vancouver over Los Angeles. They save millions, and the production quality remains unaffected. On paper, Trump has a point, but the situation isn't as simple as he makes it out to be. Hollywood isn't entirely a victim. Many studios actively choose to move abroad as part of a business strategy. Wherever it's cheaper and more efficient, they go. In fact, filming abroad can also be a smart way to expand market reach. Need scenes shot in Asia? The film is more likely to be shown in Asia. Have European actors? The film is more likely to be loved in Europe. In short, there are reasons Hollywood moves abroad, and most of them are driven by economic calculations. Calling it being drained is a bit harsh. If the US truly wants to keep Hollywood around, instead of building a tax wall, perhaps it should focus on making Hollywood want to stay. If Trump imposes a 100% tax on foreign films, the audience will be the first to bear the consequences. Film studios will raise ticket prices to cover the costs, and instead of a relaxing movie night, viewers will have to dig deeper into their wallets. As ticket prices soar, many people will turn to streaming services like Netflix, Disney+, and Amazon Prime Video. It's easy, convenient, no worries about high ticket prices or waiting in line. In turn, traditional movie theaters will face a tough competitor they won't be able to overcome. This not only threatens movie theaters, but could also push the entire American film industry into crisis. With fewer people going to the theaters, box office revenues will drop, and Hollywood will face a wave of viewers switching to online platforms. The world won't stand still. Countries like the European Union, Canada, and South Korea won't let this slide. A tax war could erupt, affecting not just the film industry, but the global economy. And that's the trap Trump might not fully see. Imposing a tax on films could create a retaliation spiral, leaving Hollywood and American movie theaters in an unimaginable bind. If politics were an action movie, Donald Trump would definitely be the lead character. Not a classic hero, but someone who can flip logic on its head with just a tweet. And this time, he stunned Hollywood and the entertainment world with his proposal, imposing a 100% tax on imported films. It sounds like a scene from a sci-fi movie, but it's coming from a former president who once sat in the world's most powerful chair. This isn't the first time Trump has made decisions that leave people stunned. His style is like testing the limits of his own power, throwing out ideas and worrying about the consequences later. Remember his immigration bans? Or the way he diminished America's role in international organizations? All of these show a Trump who acts on instinct, sometimes just driven by a sudden inspiration. Maybe after watching an action film in his Mar-a-Lago mansion, he suddenly thought, why not tax the film industry? But the real world isn't Hollywood. Trump's decisions don't just cause controversy in the US, they also spark fierce reactions globally. From international trade organizations, allied countries, to domestic businesses, many have voiced their opposition. Because once he hits play, both the economy and America's foreign relations are pulled into that script, and no one knows how it will end. That's why every statement and proposal from Trump always feels like watching the trailer for a blockbuster movie. Intense, unpredictable, but everyone wonders, can anyone control the director? From what Trump says, it seems like Hollywood is on the brink of collapse and needs to be rescued with a drastic 100% tax. But if we take a closer look, the reality isn't exactly like that, and one might say he's exaggerated a bit. Hollywood is still the giant of the film industry. Big names like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal continue to release blockbuster hits that dominate the box office and social media. Despite some tough moments, Hollywood has never truly lost its grip on the industry. It's true that the COVID-19 pandemic severely impacted US box office sales, but the film industry has bounced back since then. More importantly, the world of film is shifting towards streaming. Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime Video have not only rescued Hollywood, but have also opened up a new way to watch movies, anytime, anywhere. So, Hollywood doesn't need a tax shock to revive, it's just changing how it exists. And while Trump may fear Hollywood is on the decline, in reality it has risen to a new peak, one that's more modern, flexible, and harder to tax. Despite Trump's harsh warnings, Hollywood is still strutting on the global red carpet like a true king. Don't be fooled by sensational statements. The US film industry is far from falling apart, and in fact, it's still reigning at the top. Look at any movie theater around the world. From Asia to Europe, to Africa. You'll see American blockbusters filling the screens. Hollywood films don't just lead the box office, they also dominate most of the prestigious award ceremonies. Despite the rise of other film industries around the world, Hollywood is still the big brother in the game. Rather than clinging to the old model, major studios like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Paramount are doing what they do best, adapting and evolving. They're not afraid to release their big films on Netflix, HBO Max, or Disney+, and audiences are still showing strong support. This shift has allowed Hollywood to not only survive the pandemic, but also find new ways to grow stronger than ever. In short, Hollywood isn't dead, it's leveling up. And if anyone thinks this industry needs to be saved with extreme tax policies, they might be watching the wrong movie. Hollywood, with all its creativity and flexibility, is still a superpower that's not easily defeated. When Trump suddenly announced that he wanted to impose a 100% tax on foreign films, many people couldn't help but laugh, thinking he was joking. But no, he was serious, and that's what sent Hollywood into a frenzy. It sounds bold, but behind it lies a whole mess of complications, from the difficulty of valuing films, to the risk of retaliation from other countries, and even the fact that moviegoers would have to pay more each time they go to the theater. Meanwhile, Hollywood isn't in the decline that Trump imagines. Despite fierce competition, it's still standing strong thanks to creativity and the rise of streaming platforms like Netflix and Disney+. Instead of building walls with taxes, a smarter approach might be to support the industry from within, encouraging domestic production, improving policies, and most importantly, cooperating rather than confronting. Because the creative industry doesn't thrive through threats, it grows through vision.